people in the building.
Hello, guys.
Welcome back to
Ebony and Ruth podcast. So they got Ruth and Jason and Zay, and we are a family. Ruth and Jason and Zay, and we are a family. New song coming up.
Yeah, what do you guys think? Should we do a new intro? Better than
Very nice R&B or maybe Afrobeat.
Yeah.
You never know.
A combo between both of us,
Yes.
you know. Two words
Welcome back.
colliding.
So we're going to continue from where we
Episode what?
stopped.
Episode 6.
Sounds like it. I think at some point we're going to lose the number.
I think at some
How
point
many
we're just
episodes?
gonna no, but I know a lot of podcasts that like episode 199 or
Yeah.
something like that. But yeah, it's episode 6, and
Episode
we're quite
6.
proud of it. We made it that far,
Yes.
so we continuing.
Yes, we are. Part 2
Yeah,
of our previous topic.
faith and sexuality.
Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed the previous one.
Woo!
I
That
hope,
one was.
I hope it wasn't too hard for you.
Sweating.
Yeah. But I think it's very important for us that we shine light on this topic because
Yeah.
there's a lot of shame
It's
attached.
enough. Yeah.
to this topic.
It's enough. It's enough of living in a world where we are not talking about those things, and we are rather choosing to be ashamed of things and guilty of things, and we don't speak up and we don't shine light on it and speak the truth about those things. Because I think in every other thing we talk and we shine light on it, but on this topic, especially this topic, we rather be influenced by the world than influenced by faith. And so I think it is about time to shine light on that topic
True.
and raise our voices in our experiences,
Yeah.
and share those with you guys.
And the reason why we don't want shame to be around this is because most times when there's shame around something,
Yes.
it is kept in the dark.
Yeah.
And so you keep falling into the same trap or into the same pit.
Yeah.
And one of the things to do to solve like a problem in the dark is to first of all shine light
Yeah.
on it in that
Shine
sense.
like a diamond.
You know, so and that's why it's very important for us that we talk about this topic from a
Yeah.
biblical point of view,
Yeah.
from a Christian perspective,
Yeah.
which is hardly the case a lot of the times. And
And there are few podcasts
that do talk about it right now. I think there are more people talking about it right now
Yeah.
than it was
Yeah.
a couple of years ago.
But I think it's a common thing it's getting more of a common thing in the US, but when it comes to Europe or when it comes to our different cultures, we are still quite old fashioned in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So I believe that our cultures, they need to hear those things. And
Yeah.
we need to shine light in our cultures as well. In Germany, in Nigeria, in Sweden, and those places. And I believe that we are getting more and more influenced by the States, but I do believe that we need something here. And that's why we really like people to engage also. Like we last week we heard from a lot of people that they liked our podcast. Friends of ours, they were like, hey, this was a really good topic. You know, it was short, but I could really pick something out of it. And you guys mentioned things that I never thought of. And I was like, yeah, not just you, me too. I was like shocked when I looked and I listened to it back. I was like, wow, this is like, yeah, my husband is right. Or like what I said, like, this was the Holy Spirit. So
Yeah.
it is, I think it's really important in this culture to shine light on it, because I would say it's not a common thing that we talk of in Germany.
I would say it's becoming more common, depends on where you are.
Yes.
For example, there are places in Nigeria where the topic is now spoken about very openly.
Yeah.
And there are some things that we can take from the culture for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think everything is old fashioned in our cultures, but
Yeah.
there are some things that we can shine light on. especially from the Christian perspective. Now, this might not make any sense for someone who is an unbeliever, like we said.
Yeah.
So our message to the unbeliever is that Jesus loves you.
Yeah.
He died for you.
Yeah.
And he wants to have a connection with you, and he wants to restore you to the Father. Now, if you don't have this context, if you don't believe in Jesus, if you haven't received Jesus, then this whole thing about sexuality from a Christian point of view will make no sense to you. So the first step is to actually come into a relationship with Jesus. And then we can talk about how we can live, or how he can make us, help us live in a way that, is in sync with how the kingdom should be. But on that note, it's very important that we shine light in this area, because there are a lot of people that are struggling in their sexuality or with the topic in church. And we come together, we lift up our hands, and we worship. But nobody is talking about this part. And there's a lot of also things going on behind the scene of abuse in the church from leaders against members. Now, in that part also, is because a lot of the times we are very quiet about this topic. While leaders also struggle. Okay, sometimes leaders are quiet because even they are struggling too.
Yeah. Nobody wants to talk about the dirt. Everybody wants to talk about what is nice and clean. Because we grow up in a society where we have to be perfect and we have to be clean and we can't look dirty or we can't be messy or all this kind of stuff. But we are messy. We are human beings. We are messy. But in mess, there's beauty. And we need to start understanding that we are human beings and we are messy. But if we can learn that our messiness will eventually make us beautiful and clean, it's going to be so different how we respond to others. And it's going to be so humbling in a way, because we approach the other person in another perspective, and it's going to be like, oh yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Because the fact is, I'm not perfect. I'm messy. I scream at my kids. I'm sometimes there's days where I feel like I'm the horrible person ever, like I'm the worst person ever. And that's why we need God, because we're not perfect. He's the one that is he's the one that is perfect.
Yeah.
And so for us to be complete and be whole and be clean, the only way to be that is when we are with God and when we have a relationship with God. And so that's why we need to take that into our sexuality too.
Yep.
Because the world pictures sexuality messy, dirty, perverted, and secretive, and all these things. But God is like, no, I want it to be clean. I want it to be beautiful. I want it to be strong. All these things, they should not be secretively. It should be open. It should be something that you talk about and you're not ashamed of, because I created that. And this desire that you have for your husband or for your wife, that desire, that's how I want you to feel about me. I want to feel this desire that you have to each other. That's why I created this, because it's in my image. It is how you're going to feel when you're up there in heaven. You're going to feel this deep, intense desire and love for me. And so it is so important that we shine light on this, that you don't have to feel dirty. You don't have to feel ashamed. You don't have to feel secretive. Within the safe space, of course. You don't have to feel these
the
things.
safe space is very important, what you mentioned, because a lot of people feel like if they come out and really share what they struggle with as regards to their sexuality, they will be crucified by the church. And maybe they would be based on whatever circle they're in.
Yeah.
But the church is definitely meant for that.
Yeah.
To help you walk and be accountable when it comes to that area of your life, or even every other area.
Yeah.
But if you feel like if people really know what you struggle with, they will crucify you, then you'll never come out.
No.
You will just hide it and pretend like everything is fine. You will come to church and do worship while dying on the inside. And that's why it's very, and guess how that habit continues to grow stronger and stronger. It remains in the dark.
Yes.
Do you know, mostly if you want a seed to grow, you bury it.
Yeah. You bury it and then you shine light on it, actually.
Yeah. You bury it.
Yeah.
Now, it takes sunlight, but in a different kind of way.
Yeah, I understand.
You know, but it needs to be in the dark for it to actually build its roots and grow. So sometimes exposing the seed too early might kill the seed.
Yeah.
So mostly, a lot of the times why we're able to build a habit that has roots is because it was in a dark place. It was covered.
Oh, that's so good.
So the enemy knows that whatever he can build with us in the dark will eventually come to light, because the seed will definitely come to light at some point.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, you start attacking the symptoms. That is not even the problem.
That's deep.
There are a lot of people that are struggling sexually and think that the problem is just how they feel about the opposite sex or even about the same sex. They don't know that the problem is deeper than that.
Yeah.
But you can never find that out if you don't open it up to somebody that you trust.
You need to talk about it. Therapists, whoop, whoop. People, whoop, whoop. Counseling, whoop, whoop. Guys, I'm telling you, like, I think this is something, I'm so happy that it's becoming more and more of a common thing for people to do that and to go to those places and seek help, because we need it. If we don't have one another, like, how are we able to grow? How are we able to get better in things? Like, I thank God that I have an amazing husband that I can talk to. But there's some things where I'm like...
No. I thank God I have an amazing wife that I can talk to. Yeah.
But I think, like...
Because in that area, we made sure that from the beginning of before we even started dating, that we actually talked about those things.
If I would have hidden all that abuse that I've experienced, it would have affected our relationship. And that's why it was so important that we talked about our intimate things.
Everything
from the past.
It was embarrassing. Everything.
It was. And it was hard in the beginning. It was hard. And it was like, how am I going to trust? How am I going to trust this person? How am I going to live with this person? But we decided. We were like, okay, this is like, we're going to do this. And so for us, it was like, okay, doesn't matter. Like, we're going to do this. And there are other people out there that have issues as well. It's not like everybody's clean. Everybody has their garbage, their package, everybody. And so, like, that's why it's so important that we talk with one another, and that we, in a relationship, in a marriage, talk with each other about our past, our now, and where we see ourselves, but also what we like, what we don't like.
Very correct. And a lot of people might give the excuse like, I don't really know who to talk to.
Yeah.
I don't know who I can go to, or who I can trust, or who I feel will not judge me, or whatever. Like, there are different reasons we give. The problem is that we don't give the same excuse when it comes to our bodily health.
Yeah.
Now, if you were sick physically, and it was killing you, you will go to any length to find a doctor.
Yes. It's true.
You will go to any length, and you might not even know the doctor. You're like, okay, I don't care. He has experience. He's a doctor. I'm going to go to this person to get an opinion. Same thing when it comes to spiritual sickness, because you can be spiritually sick.
Yeah. But you don't talk about it.
Don't talk about it. And so you just keep dying. But if you really wanted to find somebody, if it is not somebody that is close to you, or somebody that you feel you trust, or if you feel like you'll be attacked, even in the church, then you might have to look for somebody outside who you might actually have to pay
Yeah.
You might.
It might cost you something.
It might cost you something. The same way it costs you something to be physically healthy.
Yeah.
It might also cost you to be spiritually
healthy.
But if you really want it bad enough, you will look.
We need to make it a common thing. Why is it that we grow up in a society where we treat our buddies, we go to the doctor? I mean, even then, there are a lot of people that don't treat their buddies rightly. But how is it that we don't treat a spiritual, mentally, buddy,
a mental buddy, yeah.
Why don't we treat that right?
A soul. Mm-hmm.
That is something that I don't really understand.
That's a good question, because we are actually, first of all, spirit.
Yes.
That has a soul and a body.
Can you see how the enemy has been twitching that around?
Twisting
that around into us being more focused on our body that is actually secondary. What is primary is actually our spirit, our soul.
A spirit and a soul, actually, there. You have the spirit, and then you have the soul, and then the body. The body actually is the third.
Okay. I'm just like.
But a lot of the times what happens is that once we lose spiritual strength, our body takes over. And that's when people begin to say, just do what you, just do you. Just do what you want to do. And when they say do you, they're not saying do the spirit you. They're saying do the flesh you. That's what they mean, because that's what they see.
Yeah.
But we also know that by scriptures that the things that you see actually are more temporary than the things that you don't see.
Yeah.
And so we know that we are, first of all, spirit.
Yeah.
How do we know that? Because the first thing to die is your body.
Yeah.
And then the real you will come out.
Yeah.
And based on scripture, you will get a new body.
Yeah.
But your spirit will never change, because this guy he's old and eternal.
Yeah.
You know, so technically we should be investing
more time in our spirit and soul than in our body.
But it's so hard when you're in a physical world. Yeah.
Today we have a tongue
twister.
Tongue twister. Yeah. Welcome.
It's so difficult. Like when you're in the physical world.
Yeah.
It is very easy to lose focus on the spirit and focus on just, and it's dangerous to just be led by your body. Oh my goodness. Your body will lead you straight to your death, destruction.
That's why, coming back now to the topic of faith and sexuality, knowing also that having sex with your partner is actually worshiping. Either you worship God or you worship something else.
Yeah.
Knowing that makes it even more important to make it a regular thing. Like, I don't know, we can talk about this.
That's correct. That part.
Because I don't know if you guys know, but we have a lot on our plates. We have a lot. We have
a lot of people do, mostly once they get married and they get children.
Yeah, they have children. The thing is, not everybody puts things on our plates like us, maybe, because there's, you have jobs, you have a business, you have church, you have your normal life,
you have your music,
you have
your social media or
social media, podcast, you have kids, all this. Then you have a family that you need to attend to, family, businesses, friends that you want to be in touch with. And so you're constantly busy, and if you don't take time for each other and you don't mark it in your calendar, you're gonna have an issue. 2, 3, 4 weeks is gonna pass by without even seeing each other or kissed each other or have sex with each other because you're so busy. And so there was a time when we started watching, we watched a movie, and then in the movie there was a lady that was like, oh yeah, today is Wednesday, today is our sex date. And I was like, wait, what? She's marking in her calendar when her sex date is with her husband. And at first we found it very odd. We were like, oh my, we're never ever going to do that.
No, we're thinking sex should be spontaneous, not
spontaneous, exciting, you know,
on a calendar, as if it's a task or a project.
And then, like, actually, quite soon after that movie, we came to realization that we're like, maybe we should start doing that too, because at that point we had 2 little kids, not really a lot of help. Thank God now we live closer to my parents, so my parents can take care of the kids once in a while during the mornings, so they with them. But then we didn't really had anybody.
But it's interesting that we see it odd or weird to plan our sex dates.
Yeah.
But we plan everything else.
Yeah.
We plan this podcast.
We plan podcasts.
We plan our
kids.
our
we
projects.
plan,
We plan the outing with our kids. We plan almost everything that we feel is important. We plan for,
but not sex. Because sex needs to be spontaneous.
Because actually, we don't really see it as that important.
I mean, we kind of do, but we feel like it takes out the excitement.
But then, if it's important, then why don't you do it often? The reason is this: but in the back of our minds, is not a priority.
Yeah.
We know that we should have it.
Yeah.
We know that it'd be nice to have it.
Yeah.
But because we don't know the implication of not having it, we don't think it's important.
Yeah. Let me tell you guys, it's not just men that need it. It's women too.
Oh yeah,
we get moody.
Women need, way before the sexy time, women need something.
We get moody
need,
and we
the
get
cuddling, because the whole thing goes into sex for you guys, right?
Oh yeah.
How do you explain it?
Oh, it can be sometimes the whole week affecting you sexually, because you want to get prepared, but you also want to feel loved. Men just switch around and like, oh, let's have sex. But for women, it's just like, we need to get prepared. We want to feel good. We want to feel like, oh yeah, I shaved myself, or like I look good, I'm clean, I smell good. But I also feel like I want to feel like loved before I even had the actual act.
The actual act. Acts of apostles. Actual act. You mean before you have sex?
Yes. But like, the thing is, sex is a lot of ways. I feel like sex can be different things, but I also feel like everything that comes before sex goes into sex.
Not everything that comes before sex always ends up in sex.
Yes.
But it's all part of your sexuality.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying.
How you feel about yourself,
And so I feel like getting a little more compliments from your husband, feel like you love, getting a kiss when you wake up, or like just like feeling like, oh yeah, he's touched my body before he's actually touching my body. That
is something that I also had to learn a lot, because I wasn't
still learning it.
Yeah, I'm still learning, and because I grew up in a culture where that was not very public. You hardly saw that.
No,
you could see your parents play with each other sometimes, like once in a while. And they
wait, do we need to define
they
play
loved
with each other?
Play with each other. I mean, like the literal play with each other, like have fun, joke around, not the sexy part. That part we never saw. And thank God, I don't even want to imagine or see it.
I mean, we are thankful when they have a good marriage and they have sex,
because they do have a good marriage. Yeah,
that's good to have.
But we never saw this open show of affection, like
as in kissing.
like kissing or cuddling or just holding hands.
Yeah,
during the day, we hardly saw that.
I mean, you see, once in a while, I see your dad being like going to your mom and doing like that.
for sure.
I mean, he started doing that, and I think it's really.
Right now, or like in the past couple of years after we left the house,
I think, yeah,
it's becoming more and more. But because of that, I also struggled, or I'm still struggling with it. But now it's better. To do that open show.
He does not like to kiss me in public
of
at
affection.
all.
No.
He doesn't.
I'm like, this is so weird. Why do I have to do it here in public and stuff? And so sometimes a woman likes to have that. Like this, hold her in public, kiss her, just show public affection.
There's something about grabbing my butt, or grabbing or like holding my hand, or like pulling me to you and saying, "Hey,
I
let
do
me
that.
give you a kiss."
I do that
in the house,
but not
outside.
in. Why should I be grabbing your butt in public?
I don't know. It's just like sometimes.
Hey, woman, I'm a pastor.
No, for me, it's like, that woman belongs to me. So you don't mess with my woman, like kind of like that. You want to. We still want this when
the part of
fought
the
for
part,
me before marriage.
The part of you don't mess with my woman. That's like a default. That's like a default. You know me.
I know.
You know that you don't. That part is not.
Yes, but
we can't even talk about that part because actually it's you that tells me to calm down sometimes. And no,
okay,
do not.
Multiple times.
I will slap somebody. I don't care. But the thing is this:
it was that one time when you nearly slapped somebody at the train station. You remember? We were just barely married.
Man, I forgot I was a pastor. Man.
And we were in McDonald's or something, and this guy was like very weird. He was
just staring at you and just saying some crap behind your back. Yeah.
And I heard it, and then you wanted to go after, and I was like, no, it's okay.
That part, yeah. Anyway, but the part of showing this public affection and stuff like that, that's the part that I'm trying to grow or improve in. And
we do that before marriage.
No, not really. Like we went out and we did hold hands. We still hold hands even now when we go out. We hold hands, and there are times when we even kiss once in a while. But the kissing part in the public was never a usual.
Do you know? Fun
thing.
Fact, guys. Do you know that you need 8 hugs a day to be a healthy person?
I guess I'm not healthy then because.
We need 8 hugs.
I didn't have that much hugs.
I give me Bailey 1 or 2 hugs a day.
Is that just for women or for everyone?
Everyone.
To be healthy?
Yes.
I think I need to go to the doctor and
because
check.
I think it's very important to hug. I don't know. We do that with our children. We hug them.
And then we come back.
Even then, I feel I hug them too little because as soon as I get older, you hug them too little, and I think it's so important. Children need hugs, but also men need hugs. Women need hugs. We need a kiss. We need to feel. We need to feel like we the one. We need to feel that we mean something to each other. Already starting from the morning and knowing, okay, I wake up to my husband and I'm like, hey, I love you. Like, look into your eyes and I give you a kiss, although you don't like that because I didn't brush my teeth. And
that's another thing. Trying to have sex in the morning. Some people they like to do that. But for me, I'm like, let's go and brush out. I know you watch that in the movie and you wake up, you're like,
let me take
hey, honey.
And
I'm like, real life, let's go brush out.
My hair is everywhere. My makeup is down here.
Your makeup, I don't really care in the morning because that's like normal, like your hair and everything. But I'm like, if we're going to kiss this morning, in the name of the Lord, let's go and brush out. Because I don't want to be.
Let's put on perfume too.
Let's
and
spray and stuff, just, be a bit more prepared. But that part, is very important. Yeah. The planning. Yeah. To put in time, to put in effort. Because the truth is this. When we were dating.
We had more time for ourselves.
Of course, there were no children. And of course.
You had more time to take care of yourself.
But also we were more intentional in preparing ourselves for things. Yeah. You would plan a date. Yeah. You would say, okay, let's go out on Thursday. Yeah. You would reserve the place ahead of time if it was like a very packed place. You would do or
every
take
day is prepared.
Extra.
Every day you prepared every day because you're meeting each other every day. For at least for us, that was the case. But most of the times we were prepared every single day because we knew, okay, we're gonna meet each other, so you better be prepared every single day. So I think
Well, what do you think happens when you get married? That you stop preparing for stuff? Why do you think that happens?
You feel secure. You feel like, now we're married. Somehow, like, why should I?
Is that a feeling of security?
I don't know. No, I actually don't feel like that.
Or a feeling of familiarity?
No, the thing is, I don't feel like it. It's just sometimes there are other priorities to take place. Because before it was like each of us had their own jobs or their own things and separate lives, and now you coming together and you need to find yourself in this whole thing.
Yeah.
And then also maybe one has to work, the other one has to do other stuff. And so like the priorities change and shift. There's a shifting in priorities. And that's why sometimes it's harder for you to prioritize, like to know that all day, every day, my legs are shaved, or, you know, I look good and I have makeup on every day. Like I don't have makeup on every day.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people I know that they make the effort, like putting it in every day. And I think I should do that, but I'm just happy if I did my skincare routine every day and I have cream on my face and I look awake and I look good. To be honest, I don't know if I will ever be coming to that place where I do makeup every single day, because I'm not that kind of person.
And the expectation should be realistic.
Yeah.
Like I don't really expect it that you wake up every day and do makeup.
But we expect it from us.
No, because personal expectation, that's another thing. But when it comes to our sexuality or making sure that we are in sync sexually as a couple, we need to know what realistic expectations are.
Yeah.
And what is unrealistic.
Of course.
For example, like you said, once you get married, it's one thing. Once children come into the mix, it's another thing.
Our body changes. A womanly body, we go through so many different phases.
Yeah. But you also have more responsibilities that competes with what you feel you need to do to keep the spice in your marriage.
Yeah.
One of the mistakes that happens is this, that couples lose themselves in the kids.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to do that. They lose themselves in the kids, that they forget to become intentional about creating time for themselves. Yeah. And what happens is when the kids grow up and leave the house, you're left with the same person that you once married, because they would leave at some point.
But then you don't know each other anymore.
Yeah. You're so disconnected that you're like, oh, what do we do now? They're
not disconnected in body, but disconnected in soul and spirit, which is way more important than body.
That is actually way more destructive in that sense. So we can see from this conversation that sex goes deeper than just ejaculating or experiencing pleasure.
Yeah.
It goes deeper than that. It goes to our intimacy. It goes to how we know each other. It goes to how vulnerable we are to each other. It goes to how we grow together, how we're still familiar to each other, that we don't become strangers all of a sudden, you know?
You can also tell that most of the times people that have more sex with one another, they are more happier in their marriage. Most of the times you can see them
not easily irritated
at one another, and they have an understanding for one another a little bit more than those that don't have sex. I mean, there are a lot of people that might not need as much sex as others. That's also another thing. But the thing is, I still think we need more sex than we think we do. Especially women, we like, oh yeah, we can handle it, because somehow we fill that void of sex with something else. Like once we have children, that sexual part, I don't know, we still have it, but it's like you so much filled with love for your children that somehow, if you're not careful, it can take over that void of sex, because you love your children. You're like, okay, like I can handle not having sex. And so you fill that void with just taking care of the kids. And it's easily done. It happens very fast, very, very fast. For a woman, it happens very, very fast. And then suddenly, like slowly, you feel this distance and you feel like, okay, I don't really understand. I get irritated. I start being, this pointy woman and wife that is like, oh, you're doing this wrong and that wrong and this and that and here and this, and I want more and I need more. But actually what you need is sex. You need intimacy. You need to spend time with your husband in a spiritual level and in the soul and sexual level, because that's what connects you both and gives you understanding.
Very
for
correct.
one another.
And you were talking about the woman being able to go for a longer period without sex. Most women can. There are some women that cannot. It's quite different. But most of the times it looks as if, or it probably is, that men need sex more than the woman. And that's because sex has a different implication to a man than a woman. Now, when a woman ejaculates or has an orgasm, there is a release of energy into her body. Okay, it's like they feel that's why it's very difficult for a woman to have sex with somebody and not fall in love with the person, because for them it's like it's a very deeper connection and intimacy. A man can do that and not fall in love, because what they get from ejaculation is relaxation. Not intimacy, relaxation. Because what happens is that you release energy.
And their brain shuts down.
The brain shuts down. And that's why most men want to sleep after they ejaculate, because they release energy.
That's the only time when they cannot think about things.
Everything shuts down.
Everything shuts down.
They
and
sleep.
they just,
But a woman wants to cuddle after she has an orgasm. She wants to talk.
Continue.
Because the energy is still there. She's pumped with energy.
We continue thinking why we actually have sex. It's just, it continues. And it's not like it stops. We continue. And it's like more of a release of energy that goes through your body, and after that we have energy to do things. So for us it's a different kind of...
No, it's a different thing. So if you understand that, you will know why sometimes the man craves it more. Because a lot of men are thinkers. They have so much in their minds, and they're easily stressed up by things. So sex for them is their stress relief. So they need that more often, mostly, than the women do. But when the woman doesn't get sex, she feels distant. Emotionally
distant.
The man feels stressed.
Now add that together in your relationship. Woo!
So you have emotional distance and stress or some kind of anger that comes from that. Now, you see the reason why sex is very important to both people, but on a different level. And also, it helps you to understand what the love language is of your spouse. Maybe my wife's love language is not really sex. She loves to have sex, but she just wants to be held, cared for, maybe spend time with her, sometimes buy gifts for her. That could be her love language. And mine could be just respect me, give me food, and let's have sex.
I think we should do this 5 love languages again, because it also shifts. The longer you're together, the more there's a shifting in it. I do believe that there's one person that said that every 7 years there's a shift in your relationship. Because somehow
I guess we're in the first shift.
We are 7 years married, and somehow your priorities they have changed, and you've grown, and so there's a shift. It's interesting because it's also 7 days a week, and then there's a shift. So it is quite interesting with the number of 7 in itself.
Even your personality experiences a shift.
And so so that's why every 7 years, or even before then, whenever you feel like, mostly they say between 5 to 7 years, they give it a room. There's a shift, and so also your priorities change, but also your love language is changing, because now you've been together with one another for a long time. So what was important for you in the beginning, like having gifts and all that, is no longer that important anymore, because you've grown and you're like, it's okay to have gifts, but I actually prefer having quality time with you way more, because it's such a seldom thing that I get nowadays. And so now it's something that I actually crave more than having gifts, because to be honest, I can buy myself clothes or shoes or things like that, but I prefer having quality time. I mean, come on. I like quality time combined with gifts. That's good.
I was like, no more gifts. Good. Sounds good.
Like
So
last
both.
week, for example,
So
for my birthday.
guys, quality gift and quality time combined together.
Yes, that's
So
perfect.
much quality.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
A pair of nice shoes or 2 or 3 with spending time with each other, talking and having like a meal before or after that.
Yeah.
That's the perfect date.
Like
That's
she
like what we
mentioned,
want.
it was her birthday on Friday.
Yeah.
And we had some nice time together.
Yeah.
And I even released a song
Yeah.
in her honor. So check it out. It's called
Yeah.
Golden. So if you go on Apple Music or any other platform and type Golden by Ebony Jones, you will see it.
Short.
We actually
advertisement.
created like a 2, shameless advertisement. Actually created 2 versions of the song so you can check it out. And it was really fun to celebrate her. It's always good to celebrate, the women in our lives, especially our wives.
He doesn't like celebrating himself, and it makes it really frustrating for me because I don't know how to celebrate him.
Oh yeah, it's fun to celebrate others. For me.
And for
But
me, it's
that is
frustrating.
a topic of another time.
But anyways, like that time we had breakfast together and then we went shopping. Not really shopping. We went to one store and then we went back because we tired human beings. We don't like shopping anymore.
Physical
Let me tell you
shopping.
guys,
Just
we
order it.
thank you, Lord, for online shopping nowadays because I cannot handle it anymore. I get stressed out.
Yeah.
So that's the perfect combination for me. So like there's a shift. And so I believe that once you talk with one another and you have a relationship with one another and you're honest about these things, you can also let the person know that, hey, honey, what you used to do doesn't work anymore.
Oh yeah, especially when it comes to sex.
Yeah.
Like the honesty to review your sex and say, what did I do wrong and what did I do right? Because this ego thing or this embarrassment makes you not ask and you think you're always killing it. Yeah. But the truth is that you're not. Yeah. So both of us have to learn from the process. Yeah. Because there's some days when you're feeling all the chemicals in your body and you have like sex, you love it. And there's some other days you're like,
I'm not really.
It didn't really work. It's almost like we're forcing it, in that way.
But it's interesting because we grow up in a society where we are taught to not be honest with one another and talk about what we want. I mean, I can only talk from the Christian point of view, what we want or what we need, because somehow it's more of a worldly thing to say that. But I think it's very important in your relationship to talk about these things and to sit down and say, hey, like, how did you like, it doesn't need to be that same day. It can be even like 2-3 days after and say, hey, honey, what were you thinking about our sex? Did you like it? Like, what could we improve?
What position? What position should we try better? Because not every position works. At least not every day. Yeah. So talk about all this because you have the freedom to explore your sexuality together. Yes. Once you're married. Yeah. There is no shame.
For as long as you live. And that's why that's the beauty of this whole thing, that you can be honest with one another for as long as you live. And talk about these things and get to know each other more and learn about that part that connects you spiritually and with your mind and soul. And so that's why it's important that we are honest about these things and we talk with each other and make time in your calendar for it to say. It doesn't mean that you have to have sex, you need to force it that day, but that you prepare it at least. Yeah. Women, be prepared. Take a shower, shave yourself, put on makeup, put on nice lingerie, put on nice clothes, make your husband some good meal on that day, or I don't know, like prepare yourself mentally and be prepared on that day to spend time, whether it is sexually or it is just to sit together and talk and be with each other.
And on the side of men on that day, don't just wait till the time of the sex.
Yes, please.
Like from the beginning, start showing affection. Yeah. Hold her, kiss her, make her feel attractive. Yeah. In that way, because that goes all into the sexual experience, and it might not end up in sex.
Yeah.
Because you might feel like, oh, it's a bit forced, and it's okay, but you still spent time with each other.
Yeah.
And you can talk about like the things that you want to try out sexually, even as a couple, especially as a couple. Now, not everything is in the Bible as regards what you should do or what you should not do. But there are some things that are not healthy medically.
Yeah. And those things you should not try.
And you should not. You could, but you should. There's no law about it, but you should not, because
as an
sex should not have control over you.
Yeah.
You should still have control over your sexual experience. So
over your body,
Yeah. So also, you want to check with the person if the person even feels comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of compromises, discussion, and adjustments.
Yeah.
But you still decide based on the frame of still having self-control over your body, still enjoying your sexual experience, and having a safe experience in that sense. You know, so, but apart from this context, there is no rule or regulation that says you must do it this way. You're using wisdom. And that's why, especially in our sexual life, we need the help of the Holy Spirit.
Oh, yes, we do.
Because when we talk about the Holy Spirit and God, we're like, no, just leave those guys out of the bedroom.
Yeah. Like,
any other part of our lives, we can ask them.
But
our sexual life,
weird.
Why should I ask God, what position should I try today?
It's true. We even ask the Holy Spirit, hey, what should I wear today? But we don't ask them.
Oh, how should I kiss her today?
Yeah, or like, what should I say to my husband to make him feel more?
We don't ask God sexual questions because, first of all, we feel ashamed of even talking about it.
Yeah.
Secondly, we feel like it's dirty to him.
It's true.
And he's like, dude.
It's not. I made it. I'm like, I made this.
I can see you when you have, I can.
Oh, that's a little weird.
Yeah, it's a little weird, yeah.
It's a little weird.
And do you know why it's a little weird? Because we have shame.
Yeah, it's true.
In the beginning, they were naked, just flaunting their stuff back and forth. And they were okay with it. They were okay. But the moment shame came into the picture, just to imagine that God sees you having sex, it's like, that's weird.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's crazy how God did it. If you think about it. I think that's
it.
That's it. We don't have much more to talk about this topic. Eventually we will at some point, but I think for now that was a good amount of input from us.
You can write in the comments what you think about this topic.
Yeah, please let us know.
What other topics you think we should address.
Yeah. Please engage with us. We have now Apple Podcasts. We are now on Apple Podcasts too, on Spotify and on YouTube. And engage with us. We really love to hear feedback from you guys and share it. It means really the world to us if you guys share it. I'm really honored if they do that. And so please do that. Share it with people that need to hear it. Like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram and on TikTok. And let us know.
Yeah.
Until then, we would say bye-bye.
Yes.
See you later, alligator. In a wild crocodile.
See you in the next episode. Bye.